Hey, this is an exclusive video just for my patrons. I had a really interesting opportunity recently when I built my low-angle jack plane, and I said, I might buy one of the commercial ones to see how mine stacks up. Well, one of my patrons, Ethan, said, well, I'm about to buy the Veritas model. How about I have it shipped directly to you when I buy it? And he did. This is the Veritas low-angle jack plane, which I got in the mail about 3 days ago, and I want to tell you about a little bit in this video. I think I've gotten a tiny bit of a reputation as being somebody who's opposed to premium tools, or who thinks maybe that they're a scam, and that's not true at all. I've been a little opposed to them in my videos just because I think a lot of people can't afford them. And the main thrust of my channel and of my work is bringing craft skills to a level where everyday people can make things that are beautiful and useful. And I don't like the idea that woodworking or blacksmithing or any of these things should be reserved for wealthy people. That strikes me as absurd, since most crafts were, by definition, practiced by working class and sometimes poor people. Even farmers made their own furniture for thousands of years. So, I mean, if you have to buy ultra fancy tools to do woodworking, then something has gone horribly wrong with the world. And so I've always directed my channel towards buying and restoring good vintage tools, making your own tools, buying cheap new tools, and figuring out a way to make them work. I'm always trying to make things accessible. That also brings me to this thing right here. I mean, all I can say is wow. It's amazing. And it's not like I've never handled a high-end premium tool before. I worked for a little while in a cabinet shop where they had a pretty good set of Lie-Nielsen planes, and I had some indecent moments touching those planes, and it was very nice, and I respected the workmanship a great deal. This plane is definitely in that category. It's certainly similar to a Lie-Nielsen, and those are seen as being sort of the top of the heap. The Veritas is often seen the same way. You know, in addition to being a woodworker, I'm also a tool maker. And I think that's what makes this a humbling experience for me, because I've made at least a dozen hand planes and a bunch of other tools. I have some notion of what goes into it. And on this plane, there's two things that are amazing. One is the workmanship. I mean, there's a limit to what you can see on camera, and I'll be doing more detailed videos in the future so we can get in and really get to the details, but every aspect of it is good. There isn't a single chip or ding. There isn't a spot of rough machining. There's nothing like that. They've even eased the edges after lapping the bottom, so it's not even sharp on the edges, which is kind of an incredible level of thoughtfulness. And then here it has a movable mouth, it slides open and closed, and they've even included a set screw down here attached to a little thumb wheel so that you can set a positive stop so that you can't open that toe piece far enough that it smacks into the iron and messes up your edge. That's an incredible detail. It probably added significant expense. And then you might see the lever cap here, super weird looking, like T-shape. And when I first got the thing out of the mail, I was like, what is this goofy lever cap about? They're just showing off. Veritas is so high-tech, blah, blah, blah. And I noticed this depression in the side right here, and I thought, oh, I bet that's for shooting. I bet your thumb goes, oh my goodness. Look at, see, the lever cap, your fingers curl around it, and your thumb pops right into that depression, you know, sort of like it was made for your hand, and then you're off to the shooting board to trim your end grain, and the balance and the ergonomics of it, even in that very awkward position, they're incredible. The other thing I want to really point out is the front knob. I have a problem sometimes with my Stanleys, which I think everybody knows I like Stanley planes a lot. I think they're not just what's available, I think they're really good. But the high knob on the Stanley, I sometimes have a bad habit of gripping like this, mostly with like my ring finger and planing away. I try to shift that grip more towards this because it's more ergonomic, but I forget, and that's not good for my hand. What Veritas has done over here with this front knob is they've made it so that it's impossible to grip it any other way but this 3-finger grip, which is super ergonomic, gives you a super strong grip and transfers tons of force to the tool. I would go so far as to say I might turn a few of these on the lathe and replace some of the knobs on my other planes with this knob, because it's impossible not to grab it the right way. And you know, it's weirdly familiar too. Hold on just a second. I'll be right back. Yep, I thought so. I thought it looked familiar, and you know what? So this is a gauge plane, gauge transitional plane, one out of my collection. These are underappreciated old transitional style plane. Look at that knob. It's that same big flat shape that just only lets you grab it in a way that's ergonomic. The Veritas version is better. It's a little thicker and more comfortable, but the thoughtfulness that goes into the whole thing, it's amazing. So, I mean, what's the upshot of this? Am I gonna suddenly become a premium tool guy? Am I gonna buy the whole Lie-Nielsen line or the Veritas line and go over that way? Well, I mean, for one thing, I don't have the money, so I can't. And the other thing is, what purpose would that actually serve? I mean, there's already so many woodworking channels out there that are dedicated to the most high-end stuff. Festool power tools and ultra high-end hand tools and everything costing a ton of money. What am I going to contribute to that? And I mean, let's be honest, I'm a fairly low-rent human being to begin with. That would sort of be like me wearing diamonds and leather jacket everywhere I go. It would just be odd. I'm a black t-shirt fellow. But it's interesting just for the exploration. And so I'm going to be doing at least one video where I talk about this tool, maybe two. I'm not going to keep it too long because I want to get it to Ethan. I'm honestly stunned that he sent it to me, that he splashed out all the money it takes to buy one of these and then had it shipped to me before he ever got to touch it. He's never touched this tool. I have to admit, I don't think I'm that nice. When I buy a new toy, I want it now. I'm not going to send it to some jerk on the internet. It's ridiculous. So Ethan is a nice guy, and he's not the only one. Other people made some similar offers. My patrons, I'm consistently surprised by how much you guys want to contribute and be a part of what I do. And I love it because I work by myself down here. And I do get a little kind of lonely sometimes. Having a community of people who wants to go on this adventure with me, it makes all the difference in the world. These are my first impressions of seeing the finest plane that's ever been down in my shop. It's an amazing experience. It really gets my heart racing in a way that I don't think anybody but you guys could understand. So rather than go on and on about it in a YouTube video, I'm gonna share it with my close companions on this journey, and we'll have more later. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.